Our fight to eradicate corruption, maladministration, unethical leaders, and the abuse of taxpayers' money by those in power continues. It's fresh, it's fearless, and focused. The Outer Hour, where your voice matters.
Hello and welcome to the Outer Hour. I'm Tom London with you for the next 60 minutes, and it's an all ladies night. It's ladies night tonight on the Outer Hour, so I got a smile from here to here. Advocate Stefanie Fick joins us this evening. So does Dr. Ferial Adam and Rachel Fisher. I always love having Rachel on the show. She's got the nicest smile of anyone I know, and she lights up a room. So we'll chat to Rachel in the show today. What are we going to be talking about? We are going to be talking about water, because this situation as far as water quality and sanitation is concerned is getting worse and worse. And if you live in South Africa, you will know what I'm talking about. We will also be giving you the latest update on the driver's license renewal, talking about the Transport Minister's announcement and what that means for you and what Outer's position on it is. And then a very important discussion on electoral reform. There's the Electoral Amendment Bill sitting in front of us at the moment, which aims to give independent councillors a better chance. But there's some areas of this bill that need discussion, and we'll discuss electoral reform tonight on the show. Do take part, and you can take part by commenting in the comment section down below this video. If you're on Facebook, then Maseko Motsoneng will be handling your comments tonight. If you're on YouTube, then Samantha van Nispen will be saying hello to you, and the show is produced by Devaney Davids. So, shall we get this show on the road? I haven't said hello to people in such a long time. Let's say hello to our team on air tonight, and then I'll get to you and see where you are. By the way, if you're watching for the first time, say first-time viewer. If you've never commented before, tell us where you're watching from so we've got an idea of where you are in South Africa. Let's say hello to, well, she's on screen now, Advocate Stefanie Fick. Hello, Stefanie.
You
mute. Go. This mute button.
Kills me every week.
This is an exciting show tonight. I mean, we are really, Tom, me and you are joined by esteemed ladies this evening.
We are.
So really looking forward to this conversation.
So am I. Let's introduce the esteemed lady. Well, we had the first esteemed lady on. Here comes the second esteemed lady. Dr. Ferial Adam. How's it, Ferial? How are you doing?
Good, thank you. And thanks for the pressure there, Stefanie.
Well, it's mounting. Here comes the next esteemed lady on the show tonight, Rachel Fisher. Hello, Rachel.
Hello, Tom, and hello, everybody. Maybe not esteemed, I would say, but very excited and enthusiastic about tonight and electoral reform in general.
An excited and esteemed lady on the show this evening. Nice. Right. I haven't said hello to you and put your comments up on screen for a while. Let's see who we've got. And let's see who was first tonight. Devaney Davids says, good evening, everyone. That's the show's producer. There's a picture of Devaney. You know what she looks like. What else have we got? We got Claire Feldman, who was the first viewer on this evening. And please remember to like and share this program. That's how we get it out to more people. Claire says, evening, Team Outer. And then this is Maseko Motsoneng, who says, good evening, Outarians, and welcome to the Outer Hour. You'll find those comments on Facebook. We got YouTube viewers joining us. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this. Is it V-U-T Zako or Vut Zako? In any event, thank you. Hello, and welcome to the show. Nice to have you with the family. And Samantha van Nispen is representing Outer in YouTube. There's her comment. Wandise Boyd says, good evening, Dumalang Molweni, Sunny Bonang. Bonjour, bom dia, namaste, shalom, salam alaikum, and I've run out of except East Rand. How's it? Right. How's it, Wandise? Good to have you with us. Di Gibson says, hi all. Thank you, Di, for joining us this evening. Roland Kramadoff, the regular viewer, is on board. Hello, Roland. Nice to see your name on screen. Jeff Scott says, good evening all. We have Clive Graham Beckett, evening lad, who has gone to jail in the past week. You know, I wish I could just run off a list of names of people who have been taken to jail this week, Clive, but there isn't a list, unfortunately, and I share your frustration, by the way. I think we all do. But it's good to see you on screen, Clive, and I hope you participate in the chat tonight. Stefanie Fick is in the room and on your screen this evening. Stefanie says, how's it all? And then, who else have we got? Hilda Meyer from Germany, all the way from Germany. Achtung, how's it, Hilda? Fakila Dada says, how's it fixed? Fakila says, good evening, everyone. Mike Erickson Miller says, how's this, Tom? Listening from Harare, Zimbabwe, loud and clear. Well, good to have Zim on board. Thank you for joining us, Mike, and hope you stay for the rest of the show. Leonard van der Leitgarten says, hi to all the taxpaying citizens and the outer team. Shima, how's it, Shima? Shima Mashilo says, good evening, team. Good to have you with us, Shima. Caroline Marks is a regular contributor to the show down in Milnerton. Caroline says hi to all the wonderful outer team and outer supporters from Milnerton in Cape Town. Judy van Gilswijk says good evening, Tom, outer team and Outarians. Ben Fraser says good evening from a wet Cape Town. We've had such a wet Joburg the last couple of weeks. It's been crazy. Now we've got a cold weekend to look forward to. Ben, you're in the most beautiful part of the world, and even when it rains in Cape Town, it's a gorgeous place. So I get homesick for a place I don't live in. But nice to have you on board, Ben. Let's see, who else have we got here? Barbara Erasmus says, hello from Springs. Now, I got to tell you, Barbara, I don't know if you know this, but I grew up in Springs, eh? I grew up in Steubenvale. I grew up in Selcourt. My parents moved houses about 30 times in my childhood, and all in Springs. So I never moved out of a 2-kilometer radius. But my childhood was spent in your town. It's good to have Springs on board. How's the Roadhouse, the Holiday Inn Roadhouse up at the top of Springs there opposite the Windmill Park? We can ask those questions because I know where it is there. Laura Bass says, hello all. Hello, Laura. Good to have you with us. Kobus Swanepoel has joined us. Thank you, Kobus. We'll do a couple of more before we get into the discussion. And Law Bramley says, hi there, everyone. And Geraldine Cluley says, hello from Port Elizabeth. I'm a proud outer member. That's wonderful to have you with us, Geraldine. Thank you for joining us. And I haven't seen your name on in the comment section before, so welcome to the comment section. And if you're new to the show, welcome to the show. That hello and extension of warmth is extended to you if you are joining us for the first time. Put that in there, first time viewer if you are. Okay. So here's what we're discussing this evening. Let me put a little graphic up on screen so you can take a look at what we're discussing this evening. First up, we're going to be, in fact, I think we're doing driver's license renewal update first this evening. No, we're not. We're doing water. My apologies. So we'll start with water, Milnerton, and blue and green drop reports. We'll find out what a blue and green drop report is and what that means and why we should take note of it. We'll also get an update on the driver's license renewals and the extension announced by the minister and whether that's good enough. And then we will talk electoral reform with Rachel Fisher. So are you ready to get into this into the discussion? I hope you are. I am. Let's start with water, shall we? And it's funny, just before the start of the show, we were sitting on the Zoom link and chatting about holidays and favorite places, and the north coast of Natal came up, and I was talking about a trip I made there last year when I was so excited. As soon as I got to the north coast and got to Umhloti, I just went and swam in the sea, and the lifeguard came running and started screaming at me. And I thought I wasn't inside the flags. You know, they got the flag, but it wasn't. He was telling me there was E. coli and chemicals in the ocean, and nobody could swim there, and the beaches were closed. So I spent a whole holiday at the beach not being able to swim in the ocean. I mean, that's a first world problem, of course, but it does give you an idea of the extent of the damage we are doing to our waterways and our oceans in this country. And it's a discussion I'm passionate about. I hope you are too, because if our rivers and our water sources and our water supply goes for a ball of chalk, we're all in trouble, let alone the problems we cause in the environment. So let's talk about the Green Drop Report. I want to know what the Green Drop Report is. And the best person to speak to is Dr. Ferial Adam. How's it, Ferial? You know, we hear about Blue Drop and Green Drop reports, but I think most of us don't have a clue what it is.
Yeah, it's very simple. So in about 2006, 2007, there was a decision that we needed to have a public report that would give us the quality of our drinking water, which is the blue drop report, and the quality of our sewage treatment, which is the green drop report. That's basically what it is. So the green drop, the green drop report assesses the state of our wastewater management in the country.
And tell us about the latest Green Drop report and when was this released? What's the latest info we've got as far as quality is concerned? Okay,
so just before we get to that, we released a report in 2008 because there's all this excitement. We released another report in 2013, And then the then minister decided to stop releasing these reports because things were so bad. So for us to have this report, which by the way was released on the 1st of April, and it was not an April Fool's joke.
Sure.
But I think that it was very brave. I think we have, there's a new minister. There's the DG is quite well known in the circles in sector of water. And I think that I do commend them for releasing it because, to be honest, the situation is quite bad. We've dropped in terms of, so what they do is, if I can just explain, they evaluate each wastewater treatment plant and they give it a scoring, right? And you need to get 90% or more to get a green drop certification. And
so does
this report,
does the certification, you say the 90% more? So whatever you are at the moment, if you improve it by 90%, then you get some sort of accreditation. Is that right? So
it's basically they have particular things that they look at. It's a scoring, and then you measure and you do an audit of the municipality or the wastewater treatment plant, and you do a scoring. It's a whole range of things. It's environmental management, it's effluent and sludge compliance, it's finance, it's the technical management side. All of that gets weighted, and they then work out a score out of 100. And then if you get 90%, you're kind of doing pretty well, and you get certified. You get a green drop certification.
I guess the obvious question is, what is the state of South Africa's sanitation then?
So, I think that if you look at it in a more serious way, what we can see from this green drop report is that since 2013, things have deteriorated. So in 2013, we had 60 municipal wastewater treatment plants that received green drop status. This report only has 23 that have received green drop status. So there's a drastic decrease in I think, the state of our municipalities and the wastewater treatment plants. And you can see that. I think that, people are living it. You can see, you talked about Durban, there's Cape Town, there's the Vaal Dam. You can see that our wastewater treatment plants are in a dire state.
Well, I'm looking at comments coming in right now from viewers. There's Kobus Swanepoel saying Camille Drift just pumped the feces back into the pipes. I think it was a week or two ago that I was talking about walking around my neighborhood of Veltevreden Park, and the stench of sewage that was coming from the river was just crazy. I suspect I'm not the only person starting to notice stuff like this. And if you have, as you walk around your neighborhood or drive around the country, what have you seen? What have you noticed? Forget the green drop report for a second. What's your reports? What's your neighborhood report? What's going on in your area of South Africa? Have you got a complaint? Have you got a problem? Have you noticed something? Put it in the comment section down below. So it's fair. I think it's fair to say that the standards are dropping.
Yeah, for sure. I think that there's a whole range of reasons why that's happening. The one is they claim. So you remember, this is that they would, do an audit of a municipality without actually speaking to civil society. So they claim that some of the issues is, of course, infrastructure is old and failing, and so they need to upgrade it. There's also, they do not mention aspects of corruption, but I can guarantee you that there are elements. And then there's mismanagement at a municipal level, and there is also vandalism that they're dealing with. But all of those kind of issues are causing the problem, and that's what they looked at.
I saw the lights went out for a second, and I'm wondering whether load shedding isn't back. I know we're not scheduled for it, but if it's been a couple of weeks without it, I'm always nervous. So hopefully the power is still on where you are in South Africa. Our backup systems came on the side. I'm looking out the window. Yeah, it's dark around here. Okay, we continue. Despite Eskom's problems, Ferial, when there's a downward slide, and we see these numbers getting smaller and smaller on this report, and the problems are getting bigger and bigger, is there, I mean, it's so easy in this country to get sucked into the rhetoric and the PR that this is, oh, don't worry, we've got the latest plan. Look, we've got a new solution to this problem, and then we never see any improvement. Is there anything solid as far as government's efforts are concerned to turn the situation around?
The problem is that I'm inclined to say no, that I think that it doesn't seem to be a kind of a constructive response to the issue. And the challenge is they claim that we don't have enough money. So that's the one thing, right? But if you destroy all our fresh water with sewage pollution, it's going to take even more money to fix.
Yeah.
So I think we have to put it up front for the longer term. I think that they're also saying we are doing stuff. So if you take places like Cape Town and the Vaal, they're saying, yes, no, we're working on it. It's going to be 5 years. But in those 5 years, they're still releasing sewage into the freshwater system. So it's not about it'll take us 5 years to fix, but we're going to reduce the amount of sewage going into the rivers. Then we can understand. They're not doing that. So it kind of feels like it's business as usual.
And it's time for civil society and civil activists to get involved. And you can get involved, by the way. Just go along to WaterCan, www.watercan.org.za, and start familiarizing yourself with the WaterCan project. And you can become one of the citizen scientists. Isn't that exciting? To find out more, go to watercan.org.za. Can I give you one or two questions that are popping up in the comment section, Ferial? Here's the first one from Leonard van der Leitgarden, who wants to know which provinces are performing the best. I'm just looking for the comment, but I remember what he asked. He wanted to know which provinces are performing the best. Do you know?
So it's a very difficult one to explain. So in the sense that they did do a national report, a national picture, and then they go to provinces, and within the provinces, they then looked at municipalities. And they give the green drop certification to municipalities, right? So they go very local. But if you look at the statistics that they provide, one of the better provinces that has the least, treatment plants at risk is actually Gauteng with 15%. But you can't look at those numbers just as like that and say, oh, 15%, so we are great. Because it is about quantity as well. So if you take, for example, Gauteng and the Mfuleni municipality, which is responsible for the sewage into the Vaal River, right? So they would say, no, but it's just one municipality, and so it's not a big deal. The other municipalities are performing well. But that one municipality that's spewing out the sewage into the Vaal, about 15 million South Africans are dependent on the Vaal. So if you take that into consideration, that should be a big, 15 million is a lot of people. And it's a big chunk of our country. And so you then think that 15% doesn't make sense. It can't be scoring so low when the impact of their sewage pollution is so high. That needs to be done.
Okay, here comes another one. John Billsbury says he has a water purification business and business is booming. Well, that makes sense, given what we've been listening to. Ishmael, we'll get to your comment when we do license renewals. Debbie Stephenson wants to know what the legal obligations of municipalities to upgrade sewage infrastructure when they pursue a program of densification. Cape Town have failed abysmally here, says Debbie. I guess legal ramifications and obligations are going to become important if no action is taken.
So that's the thing. I think government has been, they have this. There's this whole thing of cooperative governance. So where national can't really hold local accountable or take them to court, etc., because they need to solve the problems in an amicable, nice way. And we're saying that the time for that is done. And I think this minister the new minister, he has implied that. He's basically said that we actually need to hold municipalities. They need to be held accountable for the pollution that they're causing. And we're saying it must go even further than just the municipality. It must be that municipal managers must be arrested and charged for pollution.
Yeah.
If you're a private company and you pollute, you can find the head of the company and you will find them, you will arrest them. And that's what needs to happen. And until we don't do that, then they're going to continue just behaving as if they can get away with this.
Kobus Swanepoel says, borehole water or die. Sewage flow into the Ridderplaat Dam due to sewage plant not working. Then this water from the dam is pumped right back into the supply. I'd like the minister to brush their teeth with this water, says Kobus Swanepoel. I remember, who was it, the documentary filmmaker who tried to get politicians to drink a glass of Flint, Michigan water some years back, and they definitely wouldn't take a sip of that. Maybe we should do that. I'm just looking for some more comments before we wrap up with this discussion. Sharon says, when I hear it's going to take time to fix, governments are planning on how to loot the money to put it aside to fix, which family member will get the tender. Claire Feldman spoke about misappropriated funds and mismanagement and lack of skills. Everything will be negatively impacted. Ali Gule says one of the troubles is municipalities marking their own homework because they are illicitly issued green certificates by their own cartel entities. We'll take one or two more. In fact, let's leave it there because I've got a question. My question is, are there any examples of cities or municipalities that are getting it right?
So there are some smaller municipalities that were mentioned. There were one or two that were doing really well. But like I said to you, even the 23 that received a green drop certification, there's questions about that. So if you take, the city of Ekurhuleni, for example, there's the district municipality in KZN, which has Umsunduzi, part of that municipality. And Umsunduzi, we know, is completely polluted. So how did they get a green drop certification? And I think that, I'm listening to your viewers' comments, etc. And I think that there's one thing that I agree with all that they're saying about, the issue of mismanagement and corruption. But there's something else, and that is what WaterCan is all about. It's why OUTA has this initiative, is that we want people to be the eyes and ears on the ground. We want people to, we're building this WaterCan, we're building towards having a World Water Testing Day on the 18th of September this year. And we want people to go onto our website, join it, so that we can give government a coverage of drinking water and rivers, rivers and streams that you live close to, where we can say, look at the state of water, and this is what we're telling you. I think that citizens must not think that this problem can be solved by government alone. We need business on board.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to climb in.
We need civil society on board, and we all need to be on board. And please join us to make that difference.
Claire Feldman would like to know if there's any form of oversight to all these municipalities. And Debbie Stephenson followed up with great question. Who do we report municipalities to? I mean, are we able to?
Yes, we can do that. So what we've been doing and the city of Cape Town is a case in point, right? Where the issue around Milnerton, there's been sewage pollution in Milnerton. And OUTA, where I think Stefani can come in and maybe add more on that in terms of the legal aspects of holding, of reporting municipalities. So you can report them to national government, but also you can report them to the Department of Water and Sanitation. And that is to say, you need to have oversight over these municipalities and over the water. And that's what we're doing right now with Milnerton.
Oversight and accountability, those two precious words. AGP, watching us on YouTube, says, in other words, if I understand Dr. Adam correctly, a criminal charge can be laid against municipal managers and executive mayors. Let's ask Stefani Fick, Advocate Fick, to jump in here. Or would you like to continue?
We would like to do that. I think that it's not an impossible task. We would like to do that, and we would like to see the National Department of Water and Sanitation do that to municipal managers. The minister has said that people need to be held accountable. They need to be charged for pollution. So we're saying, go ahead. We have all the kind of information you need. Please charge these people.
Got it. We're running a minute or two over time on this topic, but I did have one more question to ask you, and that's any feedback on the Milnerton Lagoon. I mean, we've been following this case for a year or two and waiting for something to come out of the city of Cape Town.
So that's been an ongoing kind of issue that we've been dealing with. A couple of weeks ago, we submitted letters to the National Department of Water and Sanitation and the National Department of Environmental Affairs with our concerns and saying that they need to take oversight over the city of Cape Town. We have not had a response yet, but that is an ongoing issue, and I think Advocate Stefani can definitely give more information on that in terms of the legal aspects.
Well, let's leave the conversation there for tonight, Ferial. Thank you very much. It's always nice to have you with us, and what an important project you're leading at Outer. And I know you've got my support, I know you've got the team support, and let's hope you've got the viewer support on this one, and that everyone who's watching will go to the Water Can project. Give the website out in just a moment. Dr. Ferial Adam has joined us this evening. Ferial is the project manager of water and environment at Outer, and you can go to watercan.org.za and join this initiative where, as a community, as civil activists, as South Africans, we do something about the state of our water. There's a lot you can do. Just go along to that website. Well, let's get Advocate Stefani Fick on board now, and perhaps we won't start with the driver's license renewal question, but let's start with the question of what we can do when people aren't doing their jobs properly and sewage is spilling into our drinking water. Stefani?
I'm going to sort of sidestep the question, because I think the answer is if you have enough evidence to point to the guilt of someone, then of course they should be prosecuted. And let's hope that we can get the NVA to actually, spend a little bit of time and effort in prosecuting these cases. We do have this problem about the intergovernmental working together and all of that. And we also experience that problem in Milnerton with the City of Cape Town province and so forth. And the problem is just so big that I think that they are struggling, and the NPA is struggling after state capture. They still can't even, we haven't seen really some action there with regards to state capture. And I think the problem with water, as Dr. Adams has said, is so big. It's so multifaceted. But yes, I think people should be held accountable. People should be held criminally liable. But it should not stop there. People should, in their positions, be held accountable, because it's one thing which is necessary to show that if you do not take your job seriously, that there are chances of you getting a previous conviction, but you should also be disciplined within your position, and not just, you work here and then we see you pop up there and then you pop up there, you resign and then you rehired and all of that. And hire the people that takes this responsibility serious. I do think, this is really not my field of expertise, but is that we lack the professional people knowing what they do. Maintenance is behind. So it's such a big problem. But I do think that the problem needs multifaceted solutions. And one of them is definitely criminal prosecution.
Got it. In terms of the Constitution, if I'm not mistaken, I think Di Gibson said it too, we've got a right to a clean and safe environment as South Africans. Wow, this is a problem that affects all of us, and I remember a few years ago I was living in Morningside. I don't live there anymore. I live in a much more average suburb now, but back then when I lived in Sandton and there was no water for 3 days, I saw people buying Valprate, to wash in. So the guys in Sandton, they're able to go to the shops and just go buy 20 liters of water at the Woolworths or something. But when I say it affects everybody, you really are affected if you're in the lower socioeconomic group, if you live in an informal settlement next to one of these rivers where there's no sanitation, where there's no clean drinking water, where you're relying on one tap for thousands of people. This goes on all over the country, and my sympathy, my empathy, my thoughts go out to the South Africans who are largely voiceless when it comes to this problem, who are suffering and living in feces every single day. I think I wake up in the morning and think I'm privileged, right? Because I battle and I struggle like everyone else. But on the face of things, and in the South African context, I'm lucky. I really am. And I think all of us lucky people should be doing something to change the situation, because if we don't jump in, we're going to have a huge crisis at the lower level at some point in time. But goodness knows what kind of diseases and problems some of our communities in South Africa are facing. And I hope we can get this right for all South Africans, but particularly for the poor. Okay, I got a lot of people wanting to know about the driver's license renewal story. And the last time we spoke, the minister was going to make an announcement, and the minister made an announcement. And now we got to unpack the minister's announcement. What did Minister Fikile Mbalula announce in terms of the driver's license renewal period?
So I see you say this tongue in cheek, but I don't really listen to what the minister says. So you have to go read the formal regulation, just so that there's no misunderstanding. Because I sometimes think, he reads his speeches off the back of a chappy paper, and then he gets confused with what's his speech and what's in. Okay, that's me. So that.
Well, you got that
so
out
what
the
he
way,
did.
yes.
What he basically did is, to a large degree, I think he did sort of listen to us, see it in the circumstance where he said he is not going to extend this deadline. He is not going to extend this deadline, and here he is announcing that we get another 14 days. He also, if I'm not mistaken, look, the regulation definitely say everybody from March 2020 until the 31st of March. So it's as if he extended everybody's driver's license that has expired now, has got 14 days more to get their licenses renewed. But is this enough? I don't think so. The good news, I think we should always celebrate the small victories. And I do think that this was, although it was minute and tiny, it was a victory, because I think he showed his willingness to listen and understand. Because I think they are always saying, but our centers are open 24 hours a day. Nobody should have a problem. So in his mind, whether that is, because people, the situation on the ground is not communicated well, or what the problem is, but I think in his mind, but we've given everything and people should be up to date. And then they start complaining.
Except, let's just go to Ishmael's comment, right? I had it earlier on. Let's bring it up. Ishmael, this is a good. I hope I get the whole lot right here, Ishmael. Ishmael Trevor Pachedza Maboko says, we've been trying to get the license renewal, but they keep turning us back to the online system to get a data allocation. And then we hear from people that go to the online system, they can't actually get into it and make the. So has the minister tried using his online system?
Well, no one knows, but if you're going to let the minister use the online system, it would be very unwise I think to have him make a booking and then he can't. So that's what I'm saying. Is the problem really communicated? Where's the problem? But the fact remains, even with their own statistics, their own numbers, they said that they will probably, the backlog will probably only be under control by September 2022. So even, just by, making deductions from whatever they are saying, there is definitely a problem. 15 days.
If it's going to only come right in September 2022, surely the extension should be till September 2022.
Yeah, one would think so. Just be mindful of the fact that in the regulations, there's also this regulation, and I think we spoke about it before, that if your license expired, but you should always keep your license, whether it is expired or not. You should always keep it with you. And then if you have made a booking and you paid and you haven't received your card yet, for 3 months, your expired license card and this proof of payment is, proof.
Here's my problem. It all seems terribly complicated. The 15 days extension, if you got your license and you've got proof, then it's 3 months. And here's Johan Elof saying you get 29 days grace in any case. So is it 14 days plus grace now? And I just think motorists are being left confused.
I do, yeah, and unnecessarily so, because if you move back a little bit and you ask the question, and I wish someone can maybe, what is the rationale behind, this 5-year renewal of a driver's license card? I cannot emphasize this enough. It is not your license that becomes invalid or expires. You have your license for life. It's only this little card that tells you that you have a license that expires, and they want you to go in. They test your eyes, and they confirm your identity. Now, I heard someone say, and as if I'm repeating myself, I haven't talked about it, but in any case, is that, there were a problem with people's identity, so they needed to have a system where you confirm people's identity. That just doesn't make sense. We don't test people's ability to drive every 5 years. So now my question is, why do we test eyes every 5 years? And people are saying, yeah, but people are driving without having their eyes tested. I'm certain that people that are responsible motorists, the same people that are trying to get their license card renewed, the minute you can't see, I'm sure you'll go for an eye test to make sure that you can see. And the people that are one would hope so, but those are the non-law-abiding citizens, and you need enforcement in order to catch them. Then a 5-year whatever is not going to make a difference. So it makes sense, middle ground. My personal view is I have no idea why we need to renew our license cards, but okay. I'm in the minority. Alta has said. So Alta's stance is.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. What is Alta's stance, and what do you plan on doing about this?
Yeah, we have been advocating very hard. We have spoke to the minister, given him our research to show that, international standards is anything from 8, 10 to 20 years. So if you look at international standards, 10 years are really sort of equal to what the rest of the world is doing. And I think, give thanks where thanks is due, is that the minister did say that his team is now going to investigate this 5 to 10 years. So,
that's great.
You know what, there's still hope that maybe after the 15 days that he will come back and say, okay, we will now licenses cards should only be, or you're allowed to only renew it every 10 years.
Oh, well, let's hope for that. We'll keep you updated. We'll also keep you updated on Alta's position, what Alta's going to do about this. All sorts of comments coming in on driver's licenses. Still the water conversation going on. I see AGP saying back in the day when bottled water was introduced to the market, everybody said snobs are drinking bottled water. Now we all drink bottled water. I think that's a great comment. Thanks, AGP. Right. Yeah, I got a feeling the driver's license extension thing's not going to go away, and I've got a feeling that you'd like to make another point, Stefanie.
Just one, just quickly, because there's an interesting topic coming up, and I don't want to take too much. I just want to tell everybody, please just keep record of everything you do. If you make an appointment and you can't get a booking, write it down, take note of the dates and whatever, because knowledge is power. So whatever happens in future, whether it doesn't extend the period and you are faced with getting a ticket, or I am of the view, we at Alta are of the view that giving someone a ticket in that instance is a bit unlawful, because you cannot expect people to be law-abiding citizens and make it impossible for them to abide by the law. So just keep record, keep on trying, and keep all those documents and proof and all of that. Keep that with you. It will pay off in the end.
Take a look at some of the comments now. AGP says your license never expires. It's agreeing with what Stefanie said. Just the card. You can only lose it if your license is revoked through legal processes.
Exactly.
Who else have we got? Kuba Swanepoel says 50% of drivers have got no license. So let everybody drive. No license needed. Just keep $50 in your pocket. And I think that describes the situation very well, unfortunately. Rhodes Abel says you must try getting a license in White River and Mpumalanga. There's no online booking, just endless queues. They close the doors whenever they like it. Pathetic excuses like no paper, system offline, no ink, meeting, etc., etc. Ridiculous, says Rhodes. So yeah, this is a frustration that is shared by motorists on a national level. Talking about national level, let's talk about electoral reform. Let's talk about independent candidates. I think that's at the center of the electoral reform bill. But to find out more about electoral reform, we're joined by Rachel Fisher. Rachel Fisher, how's it, Rachel?
Hello, Tom. Hello, everybody.
And Rachel is a research and ethics specialist. So we're talking to the right person when it comes to this topic. Rachel, what is electoral reform? Simple question.
Okay. Simple question. Well,
Not
reform
really.
to the Electoral Act of 98. So how to reform the Electoral Act in such a way to allow individual candidates to stand for office.
Okay, and the electoral amendment bill, which, have I got this correct, that there's a provision in the electoral amendment bill, at least this is what's been proposed, that there will be an allocation of up to 200 seats in parliament for independent candidates, but some commentators are saying, why not open it up to the full 400 seats? Why cap it at 200? Is that one of the problems identified in the electoral amendment bill, and are there any others?
Absolutely. I mean, that is one of the core issues that we are dealing with, and we need to take a few steps back as to why this is an issue. I basically summarize them as CPP, which is the content of the bill, the process which has been followed, and then participation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, essentially, as you rightly indicated, if we're looking at seats and seats allocation, for National Assembly, we get regional to national seats. Those are 200. And then we get national to national seats, which is another 200 seats. Now, essentially, independent candidates can only contest the 200 regional seats out of these 400, which then means they don't have like the full ability to stand within those 400. To an extent, this does make sense, because if you are one individual candidate that gets voted for and you get additional votes to qualify for a second or a third or a fourth seat, how do you then allocate those seats? You can't go and duplicate yourself. So those are one of the concerns. But what also makes this quite complex is to contest a seat. There are two requirements generally, or that's been put on now for individual candidates. The one is the signature requirement. So you need to get a certain number of signatures to indicate this independent candidate is contesting, they're a suitable candidate, they've got sufficient support to contest. And there's a deposit requirement. So they need to pay a deposit to show how serious they are to contest these votes. Now, interesting, if a political party then were to contest a seat, they only require the deposit requirement, not a signature list. Now, if we consider the Political Party Funding Act, political parties get funding allocation. Independent candidates don't. So you essentially have an individual contesting against a political party, which already built in does make it unfair, even though this Electoral Amendment Act is being put to the table.
Okay, hold on. So in my East Rand brain, what you're saying is this, right? Yeah, independent candidates, you're welcome to come along and contest, but you can only contest 200 of the 400 seats. And by the way, you don't get any money like the DA, the ANC, the EFF, COPE, and all the other parties get. Go find it on your own. It's not exactly a level playing field.
Oh, no, not at all. So essentially what they are doing is to put individuals on par, basically just fill in the gap. But they are making it so excessively complex for individual candidates to stand that it really isn't fair.